What's good, everybody? Welcome back to L Does Boxing. All right, I want to talk about tonight's fights. Give a little recap of the ESPN card and the SHOBOX card, and then we'll go over the notes that's going on in the sport of boxing. So I'm gonna get on the ESPN card first. You had Rob Brant defending his WBA regular title versus uh, Baron Jirov, the Russian fighter. Um, Rob Brant, he took control at the beginning of the fight. He outboxed him. He outfought him. He outslugged him. He was just throwing a bunch of punches. Had a good jab, good movement. Um, he was taking the fight to the young fighter, to the Russian guy. He dropped him twice in the fight, and then the ref stopped it in the 11th round for 11 round TKO. So Brand, he didn't lose a round. He was very dominant tonight. He proved that he is one of the top um, middleweights in the world right now. I probably have him just out of the top five. No particular order, but I probably have Canelo, Triple G, Charlo, Jacobs, Billy Joe, and Andrade all ranked ahead of him. So that's six. So probably have him like seven or eighth, something like that. Have to look at the guys though, but he definitely can compete with those guys. He throws a lot of punches and he's very active. He's an athletic fighter too, so he can get in and out of out of range kind of good. The one thing that he does that probably going to hinder him in the future is he leans over uh above his front foot. You know what I'm saying? He can get hit with uppercuts or whatnot or hook coming behind it. So I mean, there's some stuff he had to work on, but he was pretty good tonight. There's nothing really you can take from his performance. I mean, he took it to the guy from the opening bell. Um, He showed that he has great stamina because he was still active throughout the fight. Like he didn't have any lulls in the fight, and he maintained his aggressiveness. So Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, his trainer, I mean, he's doing some good things with him. So Rob Brent, he's been looking good his last two fights, man. So we'll see what's next for him. On the telecast, they was talking about he's supposed to be the mandatory for the Canelo Jacobs winner. Um, and then they was talking about going down to Australia to fight Jeff Horn in a middleweight title fight. So that's a big money fight for him. It's probably quote unquote, a easier fight for him, an easier fight to make because Jeff Horn deals with Top Rank, and Brent just signed with Top Rank. So I mean, he got a lot of options, man, a lot of options, but he put on a great performance and have a lot of boxing fans talking about him. So that's a good job by him. In the co-main, you had a female fight with Micaiah Mayer versus Larios. Larios is the daughter of former world champion Oscar Larios, so she has some pedigree. It was a good scrap. Um, Micaiah Mayer, Michaela, she won a unanimous decision over 10 rounds, but it was a tough fight. It wasn't a walk in the park. What's up, old shit? Trey X, what's good? Oh, yeah, you missed the whole card. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Michaela, she boxed well. She had a first couple of rounds was kind of tough. She was getting touched up with the left hook. She got touched with the left hook, and the Lario, she was landing a lot of shots in between um Michaela's shots. So she was competing well. She was fighting tough. She was landing some good hooks, but Michaela, she started using her jab and her right hand, and she started control the fight. So it was 8 rounds. It wasn't 10. My bad. But it was a good fight. It was a good learning experience for Michaela. She's 10-0 with 4 knockouts now. So she performed well though. I give her props. She was able to adjust because the girl she was fighting was waiting on counters. So um, she adjusted, started using her jab and getting back to the basics. Uh, Michaela is one of the most fundamentally sound fighters in boxing. That's male or female. I mean, she has good feet. She can keep her range when she once she get control of the fight. She has good range with her jab. She throws a good straight right hand, and she can loop it sometimes. So I like her. I think she gonna be able to do well. Um, she showed the okay chin because she got caught with some solid left hooks. I don't know how big of a puncher Larios is, but she was able to take those and walk through those. So that was a good performance by her. The opening fight of the card, the ESPN card, it was Joshua Greer Jr. versus Eskander, something like that. I can't pronounce his last name, but he's from the Philippines. Tough fighter. This was a tough fight for Joshua Greer. Um, the guy came to fight. Joshua at boxing. I mean, he was doing well. He was kind of, showboating a little bit. Towards the end of the third round, as the bell rung, he got dropped with a right hand along the ropes. He was playing around. He contested the knockdown, but it was a punch, but it was also kind of a push. So it was legit. So he got knocked down, got back up, boxed well. I don't think he was hurt from that. He just got continued to box, and the guy, he was tough, man. It was a tough little scrap, and it's a good learning experience for the kid because Joshua Greer is just 24. You know what I'm saying? He's still young in the game. He had one loss to another prospect named Steve Fulton. That was a 4 round majority decision. That was a close fight, so it could have went either way. But he got a loss and he got a draw on his record. So, but he finished the fight strong. He was able to catch him with a kind of awkward looking body shot. It was a right hand to the left. Hold on, a right hand to the right side of his body. It was kind of awkward. It was an uppercut, and it was kind of sneaky. It's a sneaky body shot that he landed. He dropped him in the ninth round, and he didn't get back up. So I mean, his performance was okay, other than the showboat and getting dropped. I thought it was decent. It was a learning experience. LDTB was good, man. What's going on? So it was a good performance. After he stopped playing around, but that's a part of his act, part of his marketing scheme with the pullo and the whole nine. So you know, I think he's probably a couple of fights away from a world title. So he still looked good. He still boxed okay, do some good combinations. It was just that guy was tough and he wasn't going nowhere until he got hit with that body shot. So that was a good fight though. Let me see. On the undercard, you had a couple of fights on ESPN Plus before the main card started. Steve Nelson, he's a he's in camp with he's in the stable with Bud Crawford. He's a light heavyweight. He got a 6 round decision. Let me see who else was on the undercard. A guy named Tyler Howard. He's from Tennessee. He scored the eighth round decision. No, 10th round decision. That was a tough fight because Howard, he haven't been facing top competition as a prospect. I think the winning percentage was like, I think his opponent's win percentage in 16 fights was like 40 some 60, no, like 30 some percent, 37%. So this was a step up. Um he couldn't get the guy up out of there, and the guy was, he was still there, so he got tired. He'd never been in deep waters before, and he had to dig down and get that fight. But he was looking he was looking raggedy at the end. But they gave him the decision. It was a close fight. Yeah, facts. Decent performance. Need to stop. Yeah, that left hand was down all night, and when he of the top of a 118, like, because the 118 is stacked. You got anyway, uh, you got to worry about the Super Series, but anyway, probably the favorite and probably the best in that division. You got a lot of them guys that can punch. If they can catch him over top of that left hand that's down, it might be trouble for Josh Green. So that's why I'm saying he got to go back to the drawing board and work on some things. You know, he can fix it. He just have to kind of take it more seriously. I think he probably thought the opponent was just gonna lay down and that's it. But he had to work for this one. But shout out to him though. He had a good performance. Let me see. So that's for the ESPN card. So the other fight, let me see. The SHOBOX card. The first fight, I missed some of it. I think I missed that whole first fight, so I can't really speak on that. But I know the guy Thomas Ward won. I looked at the punch stats. It looked like I think that he dropped him, but I didn't see the whole thing. Y'all can tell me in the chat. I didn't watch that fight, but the main event, I was able to catch that. Gavashev versus Fox. It started off. I thought Gavashev was gonna get him up out of there. He came in like he was rushing towards him, throwing a lot of powerful shots. Fox was able to withstand the storm. Uh, it was a lot. It was kind of dirty. The referee was getting involved too much in that fight. Uh, Fox every time Gavashev would throw the looping left hand, Fox was he'll dip down. He was overshooting the left hand, so he kept missing Fox with it. The first two rounds was kind of rough for Fox. He had to get adjusted to the aggressive nature of the guy. But once he got used to his rhythm, he started to outbox him a little bit, and he started to win some rounds. The fight was close to me. Um, it really wasn't much happening. Gavashev, he slowed down a lot because he started off fast in the first two rounds, and he started to slow down after three. And then that's when Fox started to pick it up. But Fox wasn't doing, to me, doing like he wasn't like super busy. He was just basically moving around the ring, keeping his long jab and keeping his distance. So it was a close fight though. They scored it. They had, I think one score was like 98, 98, 92. That's kind of wide. Uh, I had a draw, to be honest. I thought it was a close fight, but they gave it to Gavashev by unanimous decision. So he moves on. He gonna have trouble with as he move up in competition, fighting guys that can box and that can pop. Fox didn't have no power to really, threaten him. So he was just moving around using his reach. He like 6'3", 6'4", so he was able to box well once he got past the early onslaught. So it was a decent little prospect fight. I missed the first fight. I'm gonna go back and watch it though in a few. Once I get off of here, I'm gonna go watch that first fight. I missed that. No name Rose, what's good? How you doing? All right. So yeah, it was some good fights, man. I enjoyed it. Waiting for tomorrow. You got the Leo Santa Cruz card. Leo Santa Cruz versus Rafael Rivera. You got Omar Figueroa Jr. versus John Molina. You got Sebastian Fundora. He's like 6'7". He fights at 154 pounds. Tall, lanky kid. Excuse me. He's fighting what's his name? That's Prograis versus Igavashev. Um, I had to take Prograis. I like Prograis' body work. I like Prograis. I mean, he showed me something in his last fight. He showed me that he can actually box and uses boxing skills and his movement. He didn't get hit against Flanagan. Now I know probably people say, well, Flanagan ain't much, but he beat Flanagan way easier than Hooker did. I don't think Flanagan won a round, and he dropped Flanagan. Um, I think um, I think Riga's probably based on what I seen tonight. Riga's what's his name? Igabashev will have problems with Prograis because he was kind of one dimensional. He was kind of one dimensional. He was just trying to land power shots. And they said he landed like two jabs through like 6 rounds. That's crazy. He gonna have to have a better. He gonna have to have a jab against Bridges to offset his power and what he like to do. Um, so I definitely favor Regis probably by late stoppage at this stage. I think the kid need to work on some more things in the ring because you can't knock out everybody. I think he came in the fight 15-0, 14 KOs, and he was pressing for the knockout, and he didn't get it. And then after he didn't get it, he looked kind of confused. Like his offense variety was kind of limited to me. Uh, he was overshooting with the left, the overhand left, and the guy kept dipping down, and he didn't make no adjustment until the final round. And when the guy dipped down to his left, then he threw a right hook in the 10th round and kind of shook him up along the ropes. He could have been doing that the whole fight because the guy kept dipping down to his right. And he was missing that overhand left every time. So for Regis, he'll have somebody that can hurt him, and that's gonna be a problem because so let's say he can't hurt Regis or he can't get to him. How he gonna stop Regis from touching him? Because he was getting touched. So I don't know. Regis too early for him. Um, let me see. So yeah. So tomorrow. So I said that fight. Oh, the guy from Dora, 6'7", 154 pounds, southpaw. He's fighting Donnie Marshall. That should be an interesting fight. That's gonna be on TV. I think it's the first fight of the card. They're gonna have some fights on FS1, I believe. So we'll see what happens. They're having their press conference. Uh, I think it's like 1:30 or 4. I forgot the times. It's 1:30 West Coast time. I know that. So y'all be on the lookout for that. They're gonna have some type of special setup for that. I think they're gonna be in the ring talking and whatever. It'll be because they really haven't promoted that fight too much. Only Mikey. You know what I'm saying? Really, if you look at it, Mikey been selling the fight, talking about the snack program and how much weight he had to put on and gotta be fast and strong. Really haven't heard nothing from Spence, so I guess this the opportunity to for him to, I guess promote the fight. He really don't need to promote the fight because a lot of people he has a lot of support on YouTube that support that promote the fight for him. So he really don't have to say nothing, to be honest. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. What else going on? I heard people talking about the ticket sales and stuff for the Anthony Joshua fight versus Big Baby. I don't know. I don't really get into that. I don't know what's going on with that. I just want to see the fight. I don't really care about no tickets or um, what sells out, what don't sell out. I mean, it's good for the sport if they do sell out, if they're breaking records. But I'm more so interested in the fight and the breakdown. So I don't know about the, counting other people's pockets and the tickets and all that. So that's not my lane, but I guess it's good to talk about. But regardless of that, I like the matchup. Um, I mean, if you look at the matchup for real, you don't have nobody that's gonna be boxing. AJ he like to stay mid range, throw some good hooks. He got the one of the best uppercuts in the game. He has a good jab when he uses it. Um, the thing everybody talk about is with AJ be his stamina hold up, and with Big Baby, will he be able to take some of that heat that's coming? Because Big Baby get hit with the right hand a lot too. He keep his left hand down, and he get hit with the right hand by Gerald Washington and the last guy he fought, Dino. And I don't think he want to take those right hands from Anthony Joshua. So we'll see. Um, but it's a good matchup though. It's a good matchup. Um, I believe AJ for him to win, he's gonna have to get that jab pumping. Get that jab pumping. Uh, what I'm saying, maintain the distance of the fight, control the range of the fight. Make sure he's quick enough to get away from Big Baby. Um, Not so much where he have to move around the ring and waste extra energy, but maybe take a step to the left or the right or take some steps back to get away from Big Baby and catch him coming in. He might have to play the counter punch of this fight. I can see him kind of on the back foot, uh, catching, shooting, and because AJ has some good skills, man. He has some good skills. The only thing he really lacked is two things that I see that he lacked is consistent head movement and his stamina. But other than that, I mean, he's tough. I mean, a lot of people I know they give him a hard time and whatever. But if you look at him, I watched a couple of his fights, man. He can get from defense to offense pretty good. And he don't just throw like one punch in return. He'll throw like three or four punch combination. And all of them shits are hard. And he won the Parker fight with the jab. He didn't really land no big shots. He kept missing the uppercut inside. Um, the uppercut gonna be there against Big Baby though. So we'll see. Um, I think AJ can if he can touch him early and not get tired. AJ can win. He can win by knockout or decision, either way. But he has to keep that distance and he has to be effective with his counters. Big Baby Miller, he just have to be consistent. He can't start slow. He have to start off very consistent and very I ain't gonna say fast, but keep him keep that pressure on AJ. Make AJ move. That's gonna be the key. If he can make AJ move, pick up his feet, and kind of what I'm saying have to box a little bit because um, that's gonna wear him down. Carrying all that bulk and that muscle, it's gonna wear him down. I mean, he get just regular, but he gonna have some extreme pressure on him if Big Baby fights the way he been fighting. Now I don't know if the big lights and all this talk is gonna go for nothing, but if he fights like he been fighting, he should be able to wear down AJ. But he has to be careful though at all times because he tends to get hit with a lot of right hands, and AJ has a sneaky uppercut. But I believe Big Baby, he gonna have to get inside and work the body. He got to be aggressive on the inside. Use that 300 pounds, 315, 310. Use that to your advantage. Rough up AJ on the inside. Make him tired. Make AJ clinch. Lean on him. Working the inside. Do all this stuff. Just the little stuff to wear him down. Don't even try to hurt AJ. Don't try to hurt him in the beginning. Just wear him down. Lean on his neck. Put your elbow on his neck. Big Baby is kind of nimble. He got some little tricks too. He'll throw the elbow up before he'll throw the right hand. He'll kind of like put his left hand on your neck, then he'll punch. He kind of dirty, slightly dirty. But he gonna have to be like just physical in there. Make AJ work. You know what I'm saying? And then get to that body, and then it's gonna come. He's gonna slow down. Like these guys are heavyweights. Big Baby kind of gets stronger as the fight goes on. He just starts slow. He starts slow. AJ, he's dangerous from 1 through 12, but you want to make him work. You know what I'm saying? But it's an interesting fight, man. I actually like the fight. I think it's I think it's good. I think it's a good fight. I can't even down on it. Oh, let me see. So what we got? So next week. So you got a busy week next week on the 23rd. So you have the Gale versus Eubank. That's gonna be on Showtime. On the undercard, you have Joe Joyce versus Bermain Stavern and Lee Selby versus Omar Douglas. So let me see. Let me think about what's good, Andrew. So the Gail Eubank uh, fight. Let me touch on that real quick. Um, I like the fight. I actually see it kind of being an ugly fight. I see a lot of holding, a lot of grabbing. The Gale is definitely on the downside of his career. Um, I did not like how he looked against Truex in both fights. I thought the first fight with Truex, he was just lethargic. He didn't let his hands go. He let the play. He got hurt a couple times in that fight. In the second fight, he was doing too much holding. I mean, it seemed like he'll punch, he'll throw two jabs, and he'll grab. It was a bunch of head clashes and all types. So he really didn't look good. And I don't even think he won that fight, to be honest. But it is what it is. The fight with Eubank, though, I can see it being kind of ugly too. I can see him kind of, kind of stalling out what Eubank like to do. Eubank is like to be active and let his hands go, but you can frustrate him by clinching him at the right time, making sure your jab is on point, uh, using some movement, have him chase you down. Now Eubank not gonna get tired, but you can frustrate him. The people that beat him, Billy Joe and George Groves, they use movement and they use some tactics to be able to offset him. The same type of skills that DeGale has. DeGale, in his day, he was a great boxer. You know what I'm saying? He used to can switch. Uh, he had a good straight left hand, and he was just a good boxer. He's gonna have to kind of stink it out. Make Eubank think. Eubank this balls to the wall, but you can set him. You can walk him to some traps because he's looking to try to get you up out of there. Um, for Chris Eubank, he just have to he got to be aggressive, but he have to be smart. Don't waste your energy early in the fights. You gonna have to get that jab pumping. That's the key. I mean, that's the key to every fight, but especially with him because he throw a lot of looping shots, a lot of shots in combination, and he never set nothing up. If he can use his jab to set up his work, then he can give the Gale something to think about. Um, what I'm saying, and try to keep the Gale from using that stall out tactics, grabbing, clinching, a lot of holding and all that stuff. I see that coming. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. That's why they have the fights. But um, I would have to edge it to DeGale. I think he'll be able to frustrate Chris Eubank just a little bit. I'm not really, um, too sure that Chris Eubank really learned anything from his fight with George Groves. I just think he's gonna start off trying to, perform better, but I think he's gonna go back to the old ways once it started getting rough and tough in there. But we'll see, man. We'll definitely see. Uh, Joe Joyce versus Bermane Stavern. Um, kind of a crossroads fight, man. I definitely favor Joe Joyce. I do not believe in Stavern. Um, I think his best days are definitely behind him. I think Deontay Wilder. I think the first fight with Deontay Wilder took more out of him than the second fight, if that makes any sense. Probably won't because he destroyed them in the second fight. But the first fight, he was taking that power for 12 rounds. Yeah, we all know in boxing these guys get their career shortened by taking these punches round after round after round. The second fight, he took some power, but he got up out of there quick. He didn't have to take none from from 1 through 12 like he did the first round. And the evidence of that is because his fight after Wilder was like it was that same year, but he got dropped by a journeyman fighter, a guy that he supposed to ran through. He got dropped. He looked lethargic. Lethargic, and I thought he lost. You know what I'm saying? I thought he lost. I seen a clip. I watched that. They had that fight on YouTube through somebody's phone when the fight first happened, and when I watched it, he looked terrible. He got dropped in the first round. I think he came in like 260, two something. He was overweight. I mean, it was crazy. What's up, Reggie Owens? Salute. So you can't tell me that you gotta convince me that Stavern gonna uh, be better in this fight right here. After after that long layoff, he haven't fought since he didn't fight the whole year last year, coming off a devastating knockout while he was already on the decline. I mean, and he fighting Joe Joyce, a strong, heavy-handed guy. I mean, he's slow, he's robotic, but the guy is strong and he's action packed. He bring the fight to you. Now, if the Stavern can come back, the Stavern that fought Areola, then maybe we got some cooking. You know what I'm saying? Stavern, he was a good boxer. He can be able to set traps and throw that strong right hand. He had decent head movement. You know what I'm saying? I think that's done though. Um, he stands there with the high guard. And man, I don't like that in this fight. I don't like that a lot, but I don't like that in this fight because of Joe Joyce's awkward style. Like his punches come from awkward directions. It comes overhand. It comes this way. You know what I'm saying? Different angles. You know what I'm saying? And if he's in the high guard trying to take those punches, he gonna get hit with some shit that he don't see. And Joe Joyce, he throws awkward punches, so there's likelihood you get hit behind the head. Uh, you know what I'm saying? You get hit on the top of the head, on the temple. You know, Abel Sanchez, say what you want about him, but they teaching him the same the same trick that Triple G used against Rubio to punch down, like throw the hook on top of the skull. I'm pretty sure that he got that in his arsenal. I see him beating up Stavern probably early. Um, when you look at it, let's look at the styles now. So Joe Joyce is 6'6", about 250, 255, 260. Romain Stavern about 6'1", short heavyweight, 6'2", whatever. Probably come in about 250, 245. If you know anything about Stavern, he has trouble with tall fighters. Even before Deontay. Let's take Deontay out the equation. He fought Ray Austin. And Ray Austin was like 40 years old and was all boxing Stavern until he got caught with a left hook. He kind of bent his neck up. He kind of like twisted his neck up with a left hook, and that was over. But Ray Austin was all boxing him. Slow Ray Austin. You know what I'm saying? And this can be the same thing. But I just think Joe Joyce gonna come straight to him. He probably gonna get him up out of there. Joe Joyce fought a similar style to Severn in his first fight. He fought the guy, what's his name? Ian Lewis, Ian something like that. Ian Lewis, something like that. That was his first fight. The guy was short. He was crouched. He was crouching down with the high guard. Uh, I think he stopped him in like the eighth round or something. He was beating him up the whole fight. I'm gonna see what the burn has left in the tank, but actually a good fight. Um, if Joe Joyce wins this fight, he might get a crack at Trevor Bryant for the WBA interim title. So because the big baby, he taking the fight with AJ, he was ordered to fight Trevor Bryant as part of the 4-man tournament. So since he's not in it, the next man up is Dylan White, actually. Dylan White, number 4 in the WBA. But we know Dylan White going down the WBC route against Brazil. So Joe Joyce is number 5. So they'll likely call Joe Joyce versus Trevor Bryant next. So then you have on the other side of the bracket, you got Emmanuel Char versus Fresno Kendo. I'm just ready to get that shit over with Fresno Kendo. Hurry up and get your fight and get up out of there. so so we can move on and just get rid of that belt altogether. You have a decent another fight on that card, kind of decent. Lee Selby versus Omar Douglas. Omar Douglas fights out of Philly. Uh, He gave Fortuna a hell of a fight a couple years ago. I think he dropped him in the first or second round. He dropped him, but Fortuna got up and used his tricky style to get the win. He can punch a little bit, decent skill type of guy. Got fast hands. Lee Selby, he's moving up 2 weight divisions to lightweight. After he lost his title to Josh Warner last year. I wonder how he gonna look, man. He didn't have much punching power at 126. He more so of a boxer and a mover. Uh, we'll see. Most guys that moves up. Some guys have more power because they struggle to make the weight, and some people they still when they move up from a higher weight from a lower weight class, they still have they won't have no power. So we'll see. But he's a good boxer. He's a good tactician in the ring. Um, that's a 50-50 fight, man. That's a good fight, actually. So I'm looking forward to that one. What else? February 23rd, you got Andre Durrell versus Ivani Yildirim for the WBC super middleweight title. Um, that was left vacated because David Benavidez tested positive for cocaine, so he's the champion in recess. And David Benavidez will get the winner of this fight next week. So, uh, another. This is a good fight too, man. Um, I know a lot of people look on paper that Darrell should stop this guy because Chris Eubank got rid of him in 3 rounds with some sharp combinations, calling with a good left hook, stopped him in the World Boxing Super Series last year. Year before last. But we don't know, man. Anthony Darrell, he has. I never really been high on him, man. I don't think he really lived up to his. I think he basically. I think he overachieved and his brother underachieved. But I never really liked his style. He's a strong fighter. He can punch though. Um, kind of rough around the edges, you know. Ain't scared to mix it up. Ain't scared to, um, make it dirty. So that's another thing with this fight. Yildirim is a tough guy. You know what I'm saying? He not gonna back down either. So this one can be kind of testy. You know what I'm saying? Kind of testy, kind of dirty. Yildirim, he fights in the mold of like a let me see, poor man's Triple G, maybe a similar style to Ronald Graville, kind of high guard coming in. Not a lot of head movement. Uh, kind of aggressive, whatever. Darrell, he can box. He can switch from both stances. So I think he's probably the bigger puncher in this fight. I would favor Darrell, but I don't think he's gonna stop him. I think it's gonna be a good, tough fight. Although I don't think Yildirim has the skill set or the talent to actually win this fight. I watched his last fight in September. He fought a 42-year-old guy. What's his name? Mock or Lock? I forgot. He's an African fighter. He fought him in Germany. I thought he lost. I thought Israel lost that fight. The guy was all boxing him, all working him. Uh, I think he dropped him. So I mean, I look at that. You got a guy, 40 plus years old, and you're a young guy, and you getting outworked by a guy 40 plus years old. That don't sit well to me. And he was getting touched up. So if he can get stopped this fight, I don't know. But I favor Darrell in this fight. I think he'll become the new champion. Probably in a rough fight. It's gonna be a rough fight because I don't think the guy gonna lay down. So it's gonna be a rough, tough fight. So let me see. Um, who else fight that day? Oh, Anthony Yard. He's fighting another low level competition type of fight. He's fighting Travis Reeves. Travis Reeves last fought uh, January the 17th on the Mayweather card. It was in Vegas during fight week for Pacquiao Broner. He beat Linnell Beddoes on that card. He dropped Bellows like twice, I believe, in one decision. He looked kind of timid to me. He looked like he was, I don't know, like he wasn't sure about letting his punches go. Anthony Yarde should run through this dude. Just to be honest with you, he should run through him. I think he need to make a statement. He's number one in the WBO. He's been fighting less than stellar competition. It's time to step it up, man. It's time. Either he'll probably be called to be mandatory for Kovalev. He's been number one in the WBO for like a year now. So I mean, it's about time. So that fight will be on ESPN Plus. The Darrell card, Darrell versus Yildirim, that can be on FS1. Um, what else? Another card. Oh, Brandon Rios versus Humberto Soto in Mexico. That's gonna be on the Zone. Excuse me. That's like boxing, man. Boxing has everything. You have the slick boxer, you have the brawler, you have uh, the sweet scientist, you have the counterpuncher, you have the southpaw, the righty. You know what I'm saying? You have big, tall, short. This one right here, this is a war. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in boxing, we just want to see no skills and just an all-out brawl. You know what I'm saying? Just put your head down and start just throw punches. I think that's what you're gonna get right here. Humberto Soto, you know what I'm saying? Veteran in the game. I remember his fights with Matisse and Juan Guzman back in the day. I think he got close to 80 fights. He like 60. I forgot his record. It's like 60 something and 7 or 8, something like that. Um, this fight is at a catch weight at 145. Soto he's like a former 130-pound champion, 135 champion, whatever. So he'll be fighting Brandon Rios. You know about him. Action-packed guy. Only know one way to fight. He brings it every time, no matter who he fighting. Definitely on the tail end of his career. So he's not, this is an even fight, I guess. He should be the favorite. Um, so it's gonna be an action-packed fight. A good old Mexican scrap. So let's see. Let me see. Did I miss anything else? Let me see. So March the 2nd, you got Castanos versus Lara, Luis Ortiz versus Christian Hammer, Edna Cherry versus Ricardo Nunez for Tank Davis WBA title. I'm gonna talk about that fight. Edna Cherry versus Nunez. Nunez is a big puncher. I believe he's from Panama. Very unknown. He got 2 losses. I think he 20-2. I'm sorry, or maybe 17, 18 knockouts. Edna Cherry, long time vet. Uh, these guys are fighting for, I guess, it's a mandatory, I don't know, eliminator for Tank. So, when you looking for opponents for Tank, Tank ain't really fighting nobody good until probably next year or so. They're gonna give him a couple of fights, and maybe at the end of the year he might have a pay-per-view, a small pay-per-view or whatever. But excuse me, if he's not gonna fight the champions, then he gonna fight. So they line up opponents for him. So this is one, the Cherry versus Nunez winner. Should be a good fight though. Both guys can punch. So let's see. Luis Ortiz versus Christian Hammer. Luis Ortiz is staying active. He fought 2 times after Deontay Wilder, so 3 times total. Got a little knockout streak going on. He fought Travis Kaufman in December on the Wilder Fury card. I thought he looked decent, to be honest. 40-year-old, he's 40 years old. He boxed well. He still can punch. I didn't really. I mean, I ain't take nothing from it that I didn't already know. He fighting Christian Hammer, kind of a durable, serviceable guy. Probably can take him a couple rounds. I think he's 24-5. He got win. He got probably his best win of his career is against David Price. We know how David Price is. He got losses to Povetkin, Tyson Fury. Let me see. So, you know, it's just a stay busy fight to me. I mean, I rather if he's not gonna get the big names, I'd rather you fight every other month. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool with it. Arislani Lara versus Castano. Now that's a good fight. That's an underrated fight. Um, Based off what we seen from Lara. If Lara fight like he did in the Hurd fight, it's gonna be another good fight. But I would think he's gonna kind of go back to his boxing ability, which can be a boring fight. So pick your poison. But Castanos can fight, man. He's very tough, very strong guy. Got a good amateur pedigree. Um, you know, I yeah, something jumps out at me when I look at his record. He went on the road to win his two biggest fights. You know what I'm saying? So he beat the guy in France, and he beat both the guys that beat him in France, Michael Soro and Cedric Vito. That's his biggest wins. And those guys are back half of the top 15 type of fighters. So Soro can punch. I think Soro is the interim champion in the WBA at 154. So he can fight, man. I'll see how much Laura has in the tank. You know, Laura is a master boxer. Good skills, Cuban style. You know, we all know Laura. He probably had one of the longest title reigns at 154 pounds. Was in a tough fight. He was in one of those fights we heard that take like 2 or 3 years off of your career. And he's coming off a long layoff. Long layoffs for boxers, I really don't trip off of because it takes a boxer a couple rounds to get in the groove anyway. You know what I'm saying? But when the puncher have a long layoff, you know what I'm saying, that concerns me more. You know what I'm saying, than a boxer because a boxer can get in the rhythm of it. You know what I'm saying? Get a couple rounds under the belt, then he can start to pick up the pace. The puncher, you lose that timing when you're out of the ring, so you'll tend to overshoot your shots. You'll tend to rush things. You'll tend to not set up your stuff properly. A boxer, their natural instinct is to set something up. Use your jab. Be patient. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on it. But I'm interested to see what happened, man. This is for the WBA regular title at 154, so that put Lara back in the mix. Um, Castanos, he fights. I want to say he's from Argentina and he fights in Spain, or is it the other way around? I forget. I know his home base is in Spain, but he's a tough fighter, man. That's a At this stage of Lara's career, that's a 50-50 fight, man. Tough fight for him. And then March the 9th, you got a couple of fight cards. I'm gonna touch on the one nobody will ever talk about. You got a female world championship fight at lightweight. I did a video about it. Delphine Pearson versus Melissa St. Ville for the WBC title at lightweight. That fight is very important because it can set up a unification down the road, undisputed down the road. They fighting in Pearson's backyard in Belgium. Pearson, she is a top. You can argue 5 or 6. I know she's definitely top 10 pound for pound. She got an awkward style, awkward, long, gangly type of fighter. Throws the jab, good combination punch, but she's kind of awkward, but it's effective. You know what I'm saying? She throws you all with her awkwardness. Melissa St. Ville is a smaller fighter. She moving up from 130 to 35. She don't have a lot of power. She can box. You know what I'm saying? She can counter. You know what I'm saying? She has good skills. I don't know if she's not as active as not as she can be. She tend to be in a lot of close fights. You know what I'm saying? She basically like the Badu Jack of women's boxing. She got 4 draws on her record. But that's a good fight because it helps shape up the landscape of women's boxing because the winner of that fight get to fight Katie Taylor and Rose Valente. They fighting for 3 belts like a week later. So I'm looking forward to that, man. Hope I can find some TV for that fight. Well, that's on March 9th. Porter versus Ugas. Um, for the WBC welterweight title. Sean Porter just won his title, the vacant title versus Danny Garcia in September. Ugas been on the roll since he basically since he moved up to 147. He been on the road. He beat Jamal James. He beat Thomas Delorme. Who else? He beat Robinson, Ray Robinson. And then he beat the guy from Argentina. So he had a fight on the Earl Spence card, but nobody remember who that guy is. It was some journeyman. So he been on the road, man. Very, he's a tough fight, like a solid fighter. Like he's dependable. You know what I'm saying? He bring his lunch pail. He come to fight. He's not the fastest, not the strongest. He's just solid. You know what I'm saying? He can fight. Um, Porter, you know, Porter coming off an interesting performance, man. He he kind of tricked everybody. You know what I'm saying? He tricked a lot of people because nobody seen him fight. And nobody seen him box the way he did and how well he boxed consistently throughout the fight against Danny. I mean, the knock on him. The easy thing to say is, "Oh, Porter just gonna come in with his head, put his head down, just fight, and just bully you." That fight, he did that in spots. He couldn't do that against Danny because Danny is a great counter puncher. He can do that against Berto when Berto stay in the shoulder roll and allow you to run up on him. And by the time he want to let some offense go, you already mauling him down. So that's a different type of thing. Same with Paulie, who like to you got to make him uncomfortable and taking that space away from him to allow him to get his jab off. So different fights, he can do that. This fight, I don't see him doing that a whole lot. I see him boxing again and being keeping those angles because I like Sean Porter. He has some good angles to get in. He don't just come straight in. He'll hesitate. He'll do a little. You can tell he used to play football. He'd be pump faking and stuff in the ring, and taking different angles to get in the inside. I like when he get in the inside. Yeah, he can maul you, but he also pivot to the left or to the right and get his combinations off to the side of you. So I like this fight, man. It's gonna be a good fight. Um, I'm favoring Sean Porter to win, but I see it as a tough fight, a workman like performance. So, but it can go either way. Very important fight for the welterweight division. Then you have a crossroads fight, the changing of the guard type of thing, I guess you can call it. March the 9th on Porter Ugas undercard. You got F.A. Ajaba versus Amir Mansour. Mansour is a smaller fighter, southpaw. He's the older fighter, definitely. He's 30, excuse me, he's 46 years old, coming off of his first knockout loss of his career to another prospect, Philip Herkovich. He's fighting a monster, fighting a killer. We're gonna see. F.A. Ajaba been looking spectacular. It seems like as soon as he touch you with that right hand, it's over. Competition haven't been so great, so we'll see. This is definitely a step up in competition. Excuse me. I can see Mansour making it kind of awkward and tricky. Um, he the fight against Herkovich that he got stopped last year. He only had like a week notice, 6 days notice, something like that. Now he got 7 weeks to get ready for F.A. Java. So it may play a role in the fight. Depends how long it goes, or maybe he can bring a better game plan than he did against Herkovich. But we'll see. That's a good fight. That's a good fight for Fa. Um, Also, you have the zone card, Dimitri Bivol. This March the 9th still. You got Dimitri Bivol versus Joe Smith Jr. for the WBA light heavyweight title. On the undercard of that, you got Maurice Hooker defending his WBO strap against Mikhail the Pierre, something like that. Les Pierre, I'm sorry. Southpaw fighter out of New York. Very tricky fighter now. Very tricky. Very tricky. That Hooker fight with Les Pierre is a tricky fight, man. I know a lot of people don't know Les Pierre, but he's a good fighter, kind of a good athlete. Not a big puncher, but he can box. And that can give Hooker some trouble because Hooker, um, he looks for the power shots. He looks for that straight right hand. Hooker is a dog. You know what I'm saying? You're not just gonna run through him and whatever. But you can kind of outbox him. He seemed like you can trick him up a little bit. I know he was having some difficulties with Flanagan. He got dropped in his last fight against Salcedo, but he got up and he won that fight by stoppage. That was a good performance by him. He showed some heart. He been on the road, so basically, he won his title on the road. Then he had to go on the road the, to fight his mandatory in Oklahoma City. Now he going to New York to fight the guy on his home turf. So it's about time to bring him back home, man. Let him get some love. But um, that's a good fight, man. It's tricky. It's tricky. I watched some of Les Pierre's fights, man. He can box, bro. Southpaw, tricky, man. Tricky fighter. So Maurice Hooker now on his A, we can have a new champion, man. But I expect Maurice Hooker to pull it out and perform well. So he got some momentum on his side. Got some big fights ahead of him too, because hopefully he can unify with Jose Ramirez. That'd be dope. But we'll see. The main event, you got Bivol versus Joe Smith. Now that's another good fight, tricky fight. We know Joe Smith, a big puncher. Stopped Bernard Hopkins. He had a good year. What 2016? I think that was the year. He stopped from Farrer. He stopped B Hop. I mean, he was all shoot. He could have been Fire of the Year. Excuse me. Yeah, so he could have been Fire of the Year, man. But he fighting a very technically sound Bivol with some power. Very, very good. Very good right hand. Has a good jab. He's been tested. He stopped Barrera. He beat up on Pascal, although that was kind of a lackluster performance. He beat Phyllis Valera. Who else to beat? Somebody I'm missing. He beat Chalemba in a kind of awkward fight. So he's learning on the job. Now he facing a big puncher in Joe Smith. Joe Smith is not the best technically type of fighter. He don't do, you know, he's just a whole hum type of fighter to me. I mean, he can punch. That's the thing, but he can be all box, and he's pretty tricky. He has a good chin. You know what I'm saying? He had his jaw broke before, like 2 or 3 times. I think Barrera broke his jaw, and he fought the rest of the fight. He broke his jaw like in the second round. He dropped Barrera. Yeah, I think Barrera broke his jaw, and then he finished the fight. But that's a good fight for Bivol, man. I think Bivol gonna have to box smart to win this fight. Joe Smith been inactive. He fought one time last year, got a first round knockout. You don't learn nothing from that. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll go ahead and cut this thing short, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got 3 people in the building. Salute to y'all and everybody that came and checked me out tonight. Y'all have a good one. I'm out.